So this happened to me today. Alright, what is up, Transformer fans? This is the video review of Transformers Prime First Edition Voyager Class Optimus Prime, and I know I have talked about him before. However, I feel like he deserved an official review because the live stream I did where I opened him and talked about him a little bit, a lot of that was kind of by the seat of my pants, and so I figured he deserved an official review. So we're here in truck mode. We'll go ahead and talk about his weapons while we're here, just to get those out of the way. He comes with the Ion Blaster, which it looks like it is accurate mold-wise, but color-wise it is this dark, metallic gray, speckled plastic, and ultimately it just is not the right color. So, it looks very nice. It just needs a repaint job. He comes with this kind of stiff, rubbery battle sword, which looks like the show. It's got that little spot for his hand. It's got this nice blue paint. I'm just kind of curious as to why this one turned out so good, whereas the gun just didn't. So I'm kind of confused as to how this one looks right, and this one's not colored correctly. So, but you can combine the weapons. They do plug together, and he can kind of have a bayonet. And then in vehicle mode, you can kind of clip them on, peg them in the back here, so you can just kind of drive around with his weapons hanging off the back, which no one does, so we'll get rid of those. Speaking of vehicle mode, here is Optimus in his truck, and very, very, very nice. Obviously you're going to notice there's a big spot of gray right here, and that's kind of unfortunate that it kind of breaks up the whole vehicle mode, but from what I can tell, a lot of them have that. He's got very nice red detailing all over, some blue paint down here onto the back. He's got blue all over the place, blue back here. He has a little gray trailer hitch right there, and you can see some of his leg detail right there, and some of the mechanics for the leg. His tires are nice. They're not painted. The rims aren't painted, but they're nice. This one for me is a little loose. This one is less loose, but this one is very loose, and so I don't know how to tighten that up. But on the front you got translucent blue headlights, the very nice grille, the Autobot logo on the middle of the grille there, translucent windshield there, yellow details here on the light bar, and the smokestacks are a gray, kind of rubbery plastic, and then you have the nice silver detailing here as well. Underneath, you can't really see much, to be honest. A lot of the robot mode is in this area right here, so it's kind of funny that you can't see much from the bottom. So it definitely does a good job hiding itself in vehicle mode. So it rolls well. I mean, it does its thing. So I wanted to go ahead and compare him to a modern-day Optimus. Here he is next to Combiner Wars Voyager Class Optimus, and I just kind of wanted to throw out the scale here just because Combiner Wars is kind of the modern size vehicle. You can see First Edition Prime is a little bit taller than this Optimus, and he is a tad bit longer as well. But overall, they're pretty comparable in size. From the front, you can obviously tell that the Combiner Wars Optimus is thicker, and, but that's just the nature of the design. So I wanted to show them off together in vehicle mode before we transform, and we'll look at them again in robot mode. So transformation is where this guy really shines. I've never quite had a transformation like it. It's very unique and very interesting how all the parts move around and change in order to become the robot mode. So let's go ahead and get started here. What you want to do first is lift up the wind vane and bring that whole thing back like so. You can see that's going to be the legs. We'll go ahead and work on loosening up some panels first. It's very tricky. There's a lot of movement that happens, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen up these panels a bit over here on the sides and bring them out like so. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring his head up from inside here. It's just kind of resting in the back, so just bring it up. I don't know how well it comes across, but there's a little teeny tiny steering wheel and cockpit section in there. There's cool details going on in there. I can't believe they added those in. So next what we want to do is split this grill section. So you want to split the grill, and it comes apart like so, and these panels come all the way up like this. Alright, so now you got the nose of the truck left right there. Then what you want to do is we'll bring down his legs, and we'll bring these panels up. I'm actually going to move his legs back. So then close these panels up behind his head. And then these are going to want to kind of stay back out of the way a little bit, because these, the front nose bits, kind of wrap around. And they are going to want to, so they'll wrap around, and we'll lock all that together once the legs are out of the way. So then what you want to do is take the front and pull the nose cone up and out like this, like so. Then you can lift this whole panel up again, so like that. Now, we'll go ahead and get the waist rotated 180 degrees, get all that out of the way. And we'll kind of set him down because of space. So, we'll lower these panels down, close this all up, you can see like that. They close up like so. Then these panels come up and just kind of sit along his back there. Okay. So next what we want to do is, he's still sitting down, haha. Next what we want to do is split the arms like so, and then I'm going to go ahead and elevate the camera so we can get him standing. Okay, so now that we've elevated the camera, we're going to go ahead and get him standing. We're going to take the legs and straighten them out. We're going to lift these panels up, disengage this trailer hitch that's right here. So pull that up, split them. And the trailer hitch folds around. What you want to do is bring these panels down, and they tab on like so. You want to take these panels here and splay these open. And there's his feet. Then you can kind of get him standing. Just make sure all that's good. Okay. So now we want to split the arms. And as you do that, you can kind of see his chest unfolds here, and it's on a weird hinge, and you just want to kind of wrap the windows here around. And it's, like I said, it's very weird. A lot of stuff has to tab in, so you wrap the windows around like that, and then the arms rotate and tab in like so, at which point you can rotate them down. And I like to go ahead and just get the shoulder pads out of the way. So now you've got his arms. Rotate them again, and you'll see here how his shoulders like to come undone. So now the last thing to do is open up his hands, and one of his pipes has come unlodged. There we go. Now the last thing we want to do is take this panel, and it accordion folds up and out to the side, then it kind of twists backward, and then the hand right there flips down and then you can accordion fold it all the way around and wrap up along, it wraps up alongside the arm. So once again, kind of accordion fold all this out, rotate it back, flip out the hand, then bring that panel, and you're going to fold it back all the way around, and it tabs in right there on his arm. And then it's just a matter of straightening him up, and there we have first edition Optimus Prime in his robot mode. So here in robot mode, you can admire really how show accurate this figure is. I mean, that transformation is complex and odd, but it results in such a beautiful robot mode. Before we talk too much about his detail, I'll go ahead and compare him again. I'm going to bring in the Combiner Wars Voyager class Optimus again. And there you can see, their differences. Obviously, Optimus Prime from Prime does a good job of filling out his width. He manages to be about as wide as the Combiner Wars Prime, and just he does such a good job of going from such a sleek vehicle to such a broad, powerful looking robot. So that's kind of what I wanted to emphasize comparing these two. Obviously, the Combiner Wars Optimus is a bit taller, but it just seems to be the nature of the beast with these simpler Combiner Wars guys. So we will compare him to some familiar faces. Here he is with his fellow first edition deluxes, his Autobots. I have Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. So you can see here he scales very nicely with the deluxes. He's an appropriate height for the other first editions, so he looks really good with his fellow Prime cast members. So moving into his weapons, again, they're here. You can plug them on to his hands, and they actually cover up his hands to evoke the weapons kind of engaging from within their forearm motif that happens in the show. So you don't really see his hands when you plug the weapons in, which is a neat feature. It's cool to have, but not entirely necessary, but it does look good. The peg does stick down a little bit, but, it covers his hand, which is pretty much all I can ask. Once again, it's still kind of disappointing that this gun is not show accurate in terms of color, but that's what paint's for. So, we can go ahead and talk about his deco. It looks really good. There's a couple not show accurate bits, and I'm not quite sure why they chose some of these colors. Obviously you see in the midsection here there's a lot of gray. I'm not quite certain why that was chosen. I know a lot of it's used here and on his biceps and on his hands and even up here up top with all his awesome robotic technological neck bit. But it just seems like it's a bit too much here in the midsection. I know for a fact that these pieces are supposed to be silver, and I know for a fact that his feet are supposed to be silver, however they're black for some reason. Whatever the reason they chose that color, not quite sure why, again, but at least they did a good job of dispersing it throughout the figure so it looked normal. It's not just slapped on haphazardly, it's applied in decent areas all over the figure, and it actually kind of works. So as a deco, it is not detrimental. It's just kind of one of those things where if you've watched the show, you know that it's not quite right. And I may be wrong about his feet before someone gets mad at me. I may be wrong about his feet. They may be black. I'm not quite sure. But regardless, he looks okay. He looks good. There's a couple minor gripes about him, but overall he's good. And in robot mode, he doesn't have a lot of kibble. He does have the tops of the truck back here, the wind vane, but I mean, his bumper and all these panels back here fold up nicely and give him a nice, powerful stature, and a very show-accurate one at that. You can see the light bar here. There's details here all over. The faked windshield ends up looking way better than anything you could have done legitimately, so he gets away with having a faked windshield on his chest here. Head sculpt is quite amazing. It looks really good. Of course, they went with a masked face, but there are options out there. You can get a third-party unmasked face that looks a little bit more cartoony. But this looks really, really nice in terms of head designs. He just looks good. He looks like Optimus. So a lot of movie design there in his face. Posability on Optimus is pretty decent. You get a ball joint at the neck here. He doesn't get much forward movement, but it kind of wiggles, so, you know, whatever. These shoulders, when you wiggle them, they don't tab in, so they're liable to slip. But you do get, because this panel is flexible, you do get pretty much a full outward rotation at the shoulder, a bicep bend, but it's on a weird hinge, so you got to be careful with how you do it. An elbow bend, nothing at the hand, but and then you also get full rotation due to transformation. Nothing at the waist. You can do it, but it gets off-centered and it looks weird. Full rotation at the hip with a cutout to the side, and it's actually not a ball joint, it's a neat hinge joint in there. You get a 90-degree bend at the knee, and then the feet also have a little bit of a tilt, and then back and forth, kind of a rock going on, so he gets a lot of posability in his ankles and feet. So definitely a very, very posable figure. That's first edition Optimus Prime. I'm a big fan. He's definitely a cool figure. Something I would recommend picking up if you can find him. Of course, he's a collectible. So, anyway, thanks for viewing this video, and goodbye.